Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance inside the state capitol in beautiful Carson City, Nevada, and we are joined by Skip Daly, a returning member of the Nevada State Assembly, and we'll explain that in a moment. It's been an interesting 6-7 years for Skip Daly. Wins a seat in the Assembly in 2010, New Lines, and then wins again in 2012. In 2014,
didn't win in 2014.
Did not win in 2014.
Low voter turnout year, off year election. Make no excuses. We worked hard, but we didn't get across the line.
And it was a tough year for Nevada Democrats. The Assembly went Republican. They picked up 10 seats. The Senate flipped. It went Republican. But now, in 2016, no question that the Hillary Clinton campaign was working hard. There was a U.S. Senate race, congressional races. The Democrats were fighting for the Assembly and the Senate. And what happened to Mr. Skip Daly?
Well, I won my race, close race, 50.06%.
50.06.
36 total votes is what it ended up being in the end.
And who says every vote doesn't count?
Every vote counts.
Yeah, because there's no question that when you're winning by 36 votes, I mean, what happened the night of the election? Tell me how many votes you were ahead by then.
Well, as we were watching the returns come in, when the first results came out, which get you the early voting numbers and various things, I was ahead around 800.
Okay.
And then it kept getting closer as more votes came in, various things. And actually, when I went to bed that night, because they didn't get quite done, so it was a little after midnight, it was 3 was the difference.
3? So you go to bed and you're 3 votes ahead. I mean, anything could happen at that point.
I was ahead.
I was ahead, of course.
I slept fine.
You slept like a baby.
So then the next morning I got up, it was 38, and then there was a recount after you have to wait a little time, and my opponent requested a recount, which I don't.
I mean, when it's that close.
Yeah, no problem there.
Right.
And so the final ended up at 36.
I have covered races, sir, where after recount, it's been tied. After recount.
Yeah.
I mean, that becomes, crazy.
In the state of Nevada, no race has ever been overturned or changed as a result of a recount. So I was, fairly comfortable with that, But you never know. So we went through the recount.
Right. How long did that take?
It only took 1 day.
Okay.
The Washoe County Registrar's Office did a good job and got through it in a day.
And there were 2 other Democrats running in the Assembly that had close races, winning by about 200, another one by about 300.
Yeah, both in Clark County.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Leslie Cohen, who is a returning member like me who lost in 14.
Yes.
And then now she's back.
And so the Republicans picked up 10 seats in 2014. The Democrats picked up
every one of those 10 seats in the same districts back in 2016, which is good, including mine. So I added duty to the rest of my members,
but that is
keep that count going.
But that's pretty remarkable that the exact same 10 seats flipped, the exact same 10, and then the Senate flipped.
Well, I would say that it was probably pretty remarkable that the Republicans were able to win any of those seats in 2014.
But do talk us through
I'm not surprised that they all switched.
Right, but talk us through what you learned through the process. And I mean, I presume you would say that it's made you a better legislator, a better kind of citizen advocate. What do you do this time around?
Yeah. I'm not sure you understand the question. So the campaigns are always tough. You never take anything for granted. I think Dick Bryan is the one that said there's only 2 ways to run: unopposed or scared.
Right. Well stated.
So you kind of work as hard as you can in the campaign, and you got to trust the voters. The voters will make that choice, and they generally pick the better candidate, pick the right person. But either way, we're going to accept the will of the voters. So
when you won throughout entire Washoe County, there was a question. Question 1. And that's whether to increase sales tax. Yeah. Now remember, this is not Clark County. This is Washoe County.
I understand.
A little more conservative. But the voters of Washoe County were generous.
Yeah.
And please.
Yeah, the WC1 was the question, which was to support school construction for Washoe County schools. And Washoe County doesn't have some of the same revenue sources for school construction that other counties had. It's been an ongoing issue for a long time. The only reason it didn't come to a head earlier is because of the downturn in the economy. So as things started to head back up and there's more need for schools, there's been 20 years of deferred maintenance and various things. Washoe County School Districts were in a dire position. So they did a pretty good job of advertising for WC1. It didn't poll well at the beginning, but as the campaign went on, I would talk to people at the door. People would ask me questions and various things. Do you support this? And they're starting to see a shift and a little momentum that went through it, and it obviously passed. And I think it was the right thing. I think the voters saw through that we need to support the education and especially the construction. A lot of people up in the Van Gorder area, where Van Gorder Elementary School is, their kids were overcrowded, so the parents were feeling it because there wasn't enough room and their kids were being affected.
But you also, in talking to voters, realize that they were agitating a bit on the question of how the development community could participate.
In the course of that conversations with a variety of people, and you hear it over and over, when you hear something like that several times, people are thinking of it, and they'd say, well, how come development isn't paying more their fair share, or how come they're not funding this school construction for the impacts that they have?
And let's remind our viewers that Washoe County is going through a real boom. I mean, we see more residential construction, and when that happens, you have to build more schools, and so...
It's starting to come back. It's not as much as a boom as it was before.
But things are good. I mean,
we're
better.
We're hoping we're going in the right direction.
I hear
We're
you.
on an angle like that.
I'm optimistic.
Yes, and so I would tell people, I says, well, there's no mechanism, there's no process that allows for any type of, what do you want to call it?
To charge a fee to the developer?
Yeah, for the fee to pay for the impacts that they have on school to school.
Okay.
There's rules against it. So when I hear that over and over, and that's how come we introduced Assembly Bill 120 to try to do that on a statewide basis.
So let's talk through 120. We can really get into the weeds, but I think it's important that our viewers understand what this bill would do.
Well, essentially what it'll do is it took, instead of trying to go into the impact fee method of collecting from developers, which the school district really doesn't have the mechanism to do.
Right.
It takes a planning agency, which they don't have. So there was a provision in the statute already that allowed for smaller counties to be able to have a residential construction tax. So we piggybacked on that a little bit. We took the population cap off of the bill, tweaked what it could be used for slightly.
Which I think is important, though.
It's still for construction, but it also allows for modernization, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, various things. So it's slightly, can be used for slightly more things than the WC1 question can be used for. And then the tax is imposed by the Washoe County Commission if the school district has justified the need. And that's how come it doesn't have the 2/3 on it, because it's actually a tax imposed by the county commission.
Right. So what does local government say? Are they feeling as if this will benefit them? Because I presume you need buy-in?
Yeah, well, the only one local government's going to be affected by it are the school districts, and yes, Washoe County is in support. Even though they just got the tax increase, I've heard from some other people that are saying, how come we're doing this if we just did the tax increase? I said, well, it is statewide. Clark County
Right.
doesn't have this, so it'll benefit them as well, and they have some similar issues. And then the county commission's the only other one they would impose it.
Sure.
But the other local governments, the city of Sparks, city of Reno, they wouldn't
Right.
be affected.
Okay, his name is Skip Daly. He is a member of the Nevada State Assembly. We are inside the state capitol in Carson City. We thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brad Pomerance on Local Edition.